Welcome to a new edition of the TF Motorsports official podcast. I'm Thomas Frasco. It has been a while since we've been on here on TF Motorsports. Again, there's been a couple of changes to the podcast that I have done. Decided not to really talk about NASCAR nor Supercross. We're just sticking straightly to Monster Jam and Monster Trucks because that is a little bit more easier to follow, especially when we get to 2025 when we start covering the full season of Monster Jam, just like how we did this year. So plenty of things are coming up. We got a couple of episodes here on the podcast throughout the summer, and then we'll be going to the Monster Jam kickoff later on, either October or November, depending on when they do that, and we'll be ready for the new year. One thing I also want to mention, Motorsports Hour is coming back after quite a bit of delays and some plans that have changed. We'll be ready to go with the first step for in August. We'll be having a coverage for Orange County for some racing with modifieds and street stocks. Then we'll go to Monster Trucks with the Sussex Fair. We'll be back there for the Wednesday show. Then we will continue on into September with more racing. Then also Eva Destruction we will cover. And then October, we have versus Monster Trucks at Accords. So the 3 Monster Truck events will be done by October. And we will cover Eastern States. With the Eastern States weekend, we'll cover the street stock race and the famous Eastern States 200. So quite a bit of variety this season. I was supposed to do that last year, but kind of kept it basic last year. But this year we're going to go all in from August to October. So now we have a little something special here today, a little bit more laid back of an episode. We're going to be talking a little bit more RCs here on TF Motorsports on the podcast. We have Hayden Altman back, and we also have a new guest, Monster Jam RC. So Hayden Altman has a series called Thunder Jam, I believe. And then we have Monster Jam RC. He has his channel. He puts on really great content. Guys, welcome back to the podcast.
Hello. Thank you for inviting me on this podcast. It's such an honor to be on this podcast and to be alongside with Hayden Altman and, of course, you, Thomas Franco, on the TF Motorsports podcast. Just such an amazing opportunity. So I want to thank you guys for inviting me for this podcast.
No problem, man.
It's great to be back, Thomas. Great to be here and finally actually talk with Hayden Romo from Monster Jam RC. We're good friends on Instagram.
Yes, sir.
So yeah, I'm excited to talk about some RC monster trucks.
Yeah, so you guys are both named Hayden, so Hayden Altman, I'll just call you by Hayden, and then I'll call Monster Jam RC by just RC for short, so everybody listening is able to tell who's who, because it could get kind of confusing with the two Haydens. As you and me have been talking about that before we started. So first, let's talk about Hayden Altman with Thunder Jam. So tell me about how that is.
We started Thunder Jam. Oh man, it was probably 2017, 2018. I got my first ever RC car. It wasn't hobby grade. It was a New Bright Gravedigger. We took it out. We built a little track by our woods. Wasn't that much. Just was like a tire with some dirt over it. Then one day I got the bright idea to run it for a slide full of water. So that truck shorted out. Then we went to Walmart, and there was a Fast and Furious truck we picked up. It's a monster truck, and it was faster. It broke one day, so finally we decided we want to get something real good. So we got into the hobby grade monster trucks. Then later in 2019, we did a RC event at our house for my brother's graduation party. We painted it up like an actual track. It was very successful, so we started doing more and more and more, and it's just been building up ever since. We've been doing all kinds of identities. Great following over on Instagram and on YouTube, so I'm very thankful for everything we've gotten from this event, or this YouTube thing, this Instagram thing, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, it's awesome. A lot of other guys, there's people on Instagram and other places I've been getting inspiration, so that's awesome to me. Can't wait to see what the future holds for it.
All right, so now on to Monster Jam RC. So you began your YouTube series at some point. So when did that begin?
So I want to say I started around March 2022. I had a sand pit area in my backyard, and I just began like trying out like tracks and just painting them and stuff. And I kind of enjoyed doing that because ever since I was like 3 or 2, I was always been a huge Monster Jam fan in my whole life so far. So yeah, it's just been trying to like do some RC shows and like just practicing, just trying it out, and then like I think it was at a point I was like, okay, maybe we should try an official show where we can like do like cool stunts and like try out different things. So I should say 2022 was like kind of like our first season because we're just still like trying things out, and the fans they're kind of like getting like, oh, this is pretty like interesting. It's pretty cool, So it really sparked me like, okay, this could be like something really interesting I can continue with. So 2023, we're starting off season 2 with a bang. We had so many new trucks, so many new bodies for this brand new like season, basically like our first season of like doing like actual shows. And I gotta be honest, it's always been such a blast making these shows, painting them and like racing them with my dad, because my dad helps a lot with the RCs, with racing and like recording all the videos. So without him, it's never would have been in Monster Jam RC today. But yeah, that's how it's pretty much started.
And now, speaking of bodies, this kind of ties into another question I got for you. So obviously, you're one of a few with the Traxxas trucks that has a custom body. So a future guest on the show, Mini Jam RC, or yeah, with Mini Jam, they have custom stuff. Obviously, I already have some custom flags that I'll soon put to some of my trucks, but they also are making custom truck bodies. Um, and the work that they've been doing is phenomenal. I actually announcing that I actually ordered a body last month, but I'm not going to say what's what. Not going to say what truck it is, but it's going to be a big surprise when that happens. But RC, you have the Bakugan Dragonoid truck now with the shell and the RC. Like, how is it? How is it holding up, and how'd you get in touch?
So I want to start off on how me and Mini Jam started together, like how we like came together. It was at World Finals, and pretty much I was like talking to him the night before World Finals, and like I was just like, like replying to his stories, like, "Hey, amazing work," and like, "Oh my god, nice work." And like, I think when World Finals started, I announced that the Extreme Challenge was going to be my last show for the entire series. So, Mini Jam DM'd me saying like, "Hey, I seen you're having a last show. I can hook you up with a free body." And I was like, "Oh yeah, that would be sweet." So when we met at World Finals, I was walking around with my dad, and we came across him, and like he was like, we were just talking for a little bit, and I told him. He even mentioned that the body, like what body it would be, and I asked him, "Oh, is it possible if we could do like a Bakugan Dragonoid body?" And he was like, "Oh yeah, that'd be down and like awesome and stuff." And then like I should say like a month later after World Finals, I get a package from him, and it's the Bakugan body. And I gotta be honest, this body rocks. Like it is so amazing. It holds up really good, and he just does a phenomenal job on those bodies. And I gotta say, I ordered another one for my Losi LMT Mini, and it's a pretty cool body. It's like everybody knows, like it's like one of his popular requests every time. But you guys are gonna see when I reveal it one day. But yeah, Mini Jam's bodies hold up really nice, and they're really nice and solid. So yeah.
And yeah, it's just really, really cool for some of the work he does. Again, he'll be a future guest on the podcast. Not sure when it'll happen, but it is in talks right now. So that'll be possibly our next episode. Hayden, so now you have a custom truck, and it's one of the best trucks you have right now. What's the name of the truck, and what's some cool things about it?
So this truck, I mean, it's all over Instagram. It's my Instagram account's name. So it's temporary high. So this name came around. We were at Ocala for a monster truck event for night, I believe, and we were running RCs and we were having fun. And it just came up. This name came up. I was like, I'm trying to come up with my own identity. I had my own identity. It was originally Tree Rat, which is like a squirrel, but I was like, I don't really want to do a squirrel because that'd be kind of silly. I still have that as an idea, but I can't. I was just thinking. I was like, what's something we? I just randomly popped in my head, just temporary high. I was like, oh, that could work. And so we designed. We actually Monster Jam RC, believe it or not, helped me come up with a concept. So there was a newer body he made for a collaboration we did not too long ago. That's like a
Oh,
black and blue. So that was the first ever design, believe it or not, and I had never gotten to do that body. So eventually we came along. I had a Bigfoot body that I never used, and it was a Ford. So I was like, I'll just use this. It had like pinstripes with different colors on it. We did that. We threw some logos on there. We wanted to do Pit Viper as a sponsor, so we did that. We did a Skull Pit Vipers. We debuted it last year, I believe, actually. People loved it. It was awesome, and I think not too long after, I got a Losi LMT, and we started doing online events with it, and didn't place too good, but the body got absolutely obliterated. So then we did. I think this is where it reached its popularity. Its peak was when we did the split paint job, which was orange and blue. It got a lot of talks. Um, then the first ever event I ran for it absolutely died. So now we are at. I think this is my favorite body. We're at the red, white, and broom bot or red, white. Oh God, I can't talk. Red, white, and blue body, and that's my favorite truck right now. We've actually just ran it at a few live events. People loved it. We took it out on track, like the full size tracks. We've been hitting it full on, getting almost bigger air than the actual monster trucks themselves. So it's always awesome to have people come up to me at pit parties and stuff, like, "Oh, we love your truck" and stuff. Getting pictures. I don't know why I have no right to do this, but I've actually had people ask me for autographs, which I mean, it's cool if they want that, but I think it's kind of silly, dumb. But if people like it that much, that's awesome to me. So many people have reached out to do collaborations and stuff. I never thought this truck would get that big or anything like that. I am planning something for the future. I'm not saying what it is yet. I got a guy I'm talking to right now. Maybe you won't see it as an RC anymore, but we'll see what the future holds.
ooh.
Yeah, that's some pretty exciting news. Yep. So now going into track design, obviously with my series, which eventually we'll get to talking about that later on, tracks as monster action. With what I got, it's just a few simple things like just some logs or pallets or just like pieces of wood. Now, was there any case where you guys had to use that type of stuff with your events, or was it full on dirt and like the crazy trucks that you guys have now?
Well, I should say, like I said earlier, the we started off with sand, but we realized like during the it was a little slippery for the trucks, and it would cause them to damage and like have the little axles come off too. So we realized, okay, this cannot be our. We can't like keep on running on this track because the truck's gonna get damaged. So we moved back into the dirt, which we fixed up like the backside of my backyard, and we changed it to like a whole dirt track, and the trucks fly on that. And seriously, they can get some good airtime and no breakage so far from the last season and stuff. So yeah,
How about you,
Um,
Hayden?
So, believe it or not, there is an event, the first actual event that we did. Well, it wasn't an actual event, but the first ever event we did, was it's way back in the depths of YouTube. You'll probably never find it, but we actually just used soil bags. Like, they even use the soil out of bags. We just use soil bags with the soil in them as the jumps. And so that's how it first started. And then we went to our house. We live in Florida, so all we got sugar sand. And I gotta tell you, this is the worst crap to work with track wise because it's so hot down here that when there's no rain, it's just pure sand. So it gets so dusty. So we have to water the track almost every day to keep all that sand down. It sucks, but once you get it all tacky and stuff, it's very fun to run on. And then we also, speaking of like wood and stuff, so we wanted to bring the RC action to other places. So like when we do pit parties, or when we go to like watch a show, we'll bring a ramp. I built some ramps actually in a carpentry class out of wood and stuff. We painted them and stuff, and so we'll take them to the tailgates and stuff, run them on that. People still come and watch them from the parking lot at stadiums, so that's also cool. And now coming up next or this coming weekend, so we're going down to Orlando for arena show for Monster Jam, and we're gonna be staying at a Disney hotel. I don't know how we're gonna pull this off, but I've got the low C LMT minis. They're all ready to go. We got a fleet of them ready to go. We're gonna take them down to Disney, and we got our own type of deal that Monster Jam has. Since we obviously can't bring the dirt into the hotel room, we got our very own monster gun type of deal that we call the Thunder Gun. So that's how we're gonna do that. That'll be live on YouTube. So if y'all guys want to check that out, or if it's past time and you guys want to go back and check it out, it'll be there. So we're gonna start doing a Disney series in the hotel rooms. So that's how we do our ramps and stuff.
All right, so now going into your current track designs. So let's start off first with Monster Jam RC. Um, so with the type of tracks that you have, what's the process that you usually go to construct them?
So it usually takes a week to build the track. Well, sometimes I draw out the layout of the track and I decide which colors and what kind of jumps I can incorporate inside the track. So it takes like 3 hours to 2 hours to build like the whole track. And I usually water it during the day so the dirt is nice and like flat. Because over here where I live, the dirt is like really nice and it's really sticky too. So it's really like if it's like solid dirt. So yeah, it just takes like 3 hours to build the track and like getting the paint ready too and stuff. And that's pretty much it for the track building.
And hey, Altman, about the about Thunder Jam, what's the process with your tracks?
So it really depends on what type of events we're doing. So we got our main events that we do where we usually do like 3 or 4 a year where there's like big track layouts and stuff like that. And then you have the smaller ones that I do where it's just like a smaller track. The smaller ones, I usually just put that together in my mind, just throw it out there. Usually when I'm doing an event by myself or with like one or two other people. Now the bigger tracks, those we do a lot of planning with those. So we'll draw out the track beforehand, see what we want to do. We always like to do something different for our bigger tracks each year. So we'll pick out. We usually just do blue and black as our track colors. I mean, we'll sometimes change it up. Like sometimes we'll do Superstar Challenge, like we're doing this year. That'll come up later on this year about what the theme is going to be. But anyways, so we'll figure out how much dirt we need. We'll put it in piles where we're at. We usually line up a date we want to do the event, and then we'll build a track over time so that way we can eventually test it a few weeks before, make sure everything's going to be good. Then sometimes with the new Monster Truck Destruction with the Monster Truck Destruction game, they have this level editor now, so we can go in there and it's not just for playing with. You can actually use that to model out your tracks. So that's been a big help for me. So that's just how we lay out our tracks and we figure out everything else along the way.
Very interesting. All right, so now right now I can only think of one more question to each of you guys. So first for Monster Jam RC, what is the future for the Monster Jam RC brand?
So I don't know if you've seen my YouTube channel. I am quite currently retiring from Monster Jam RC. As I approach senior year of high school right now, I gotta like really focus on like what am I gonna do in my life, you know? So I gotta like come up from college and stuff, you know. So but I can promise this. We're working on some big things right now. I recently downloaded a 3D printing app and I've been scanning all my little diecast bodies so far, just playing with that, testing that out. So we might see some 3D printed bodies from Monster Jam RC, but I could say maybe once in a while there'll be a show here and there, but it's probably time for me to move on from like the big old shows and like compete, like doing the big old events I do every year, like the World Finals, and recently our Extreme Challenge, where we had two teams going against each other. So, but I know there's gonna be a way that this brand Monster Jam RC is gonna continue. But don't worry, it's gonna be really exciting for the future because we may have a new track soon. We may have new bodies, new trucks debating too. So I should just say stick tuned and check out my YouTube channels and Instagram for updates because the future of Monster Jam RC is just seems to be promising.
All right, and now Hayden Ullman, what about your future with your RC tour, Thunder Jam?
We actually got quite a bit going on right now. We're planning. There's a lot of stuff in the phases of being done. We're actually talking about doing an RC experience to start bringing to shows where not just us, the guys who bring out the toys to play with in front of everybody, but everybody else can actually get in on the action and play for a cheap price. They can come out there. Their kids can, parents' kids can drive trucks. We're talking about doing that. I want to do more collaborations. You know, want to meet up with some actual people that have race RCs, like Monster Jam RC. Some other guys on Instagram. We got more events planned. Obviously, there's just so much. Definitely gonna start doing exhibition freestyles during intermission at monster truck shows. That's been going very well. There's some stuff I can't talk about yet, but we have ourselves a pretty bright future, and we can't wait to see where it goes. And that's just about it from us.
Yeah, that's awesome though. But yeah, so yeah, Monster Jam RC and Thunder Jam, two really good tours out there, and I'm excited to see the future for both of them. But gonna give you guys this opportunity now, if you want to. You guys were able to ask me a question about anything about my current RC tour, which is Traxxas Monster Action, which um which currently is just having some highlight videos, but in the future we're gonna do some full event videos. So now if you guys have any questions, you're able to ask me right here on the podcast.
So I have this question for you. Like how I want to know how did you got like into the RCs? Like what like like sparked you to do made you to say like, "Oh, I want to like try this out and like see how it goes and see like, you know, just try like the first experience of like trying out RC." So what was it like for your first time?
So the first time that I was really getting into the RC stuff is once I saw the video from Traxxas where they had that Monster Jam release where they had Gravedigger, Maximum Destruction, Monster Mutt Grinder. They had all those trucks, and I was obviously um ready to beg my dad over, hey, can I get Gravedigger? And then eventually one Christmas morning, got the truck, freaked out like a girl, like ah. So had that moment in my life. So got it and drove it around a bunch, and then eventually met my friend Jason, and we started to do a RC series around 2014 called RC Action, and that lasted a couple years, and then we just kind of just did our own little RC stuff, still called it RC Monster Jam. Um, just kind of did our own stuff. We also changed it to Backyard Monster Jam. We just had like just little events, and then I started to record little bits once I got a proper phone to record it around 2017. And then after a certain point of pretty much doing nothing and having two RCs sitting there, I eventually this year around my birthday got Bigfoot. And that is my third RC. That's a Stampede. The second one that's a 2x4. And I decided, since I have a little bit of time on my hands after work or going to an event or covering an event, I could do a little RC content. So I came up with the name Traxxas Monster Action, and with that name, it's pretty much a tribute to the old series. And on one of the other videos, me and Jay reunited for an RC video, and it was just him showing his newer RCs that he's got, but we also test drove Bigfoot. So in the future, it's going to be pretty cool. Next question, anybody? Hayden Altman, you got anything?
Oh yeah. Do you ever plan on having your own identities?
Planning on running my own identities. Now I have not thought of that, but that does sound kind of a. Actually, you kind of gave me an idea right here on the spot, honestly, because I didn't really have a thought going into this. Because I have Scully, which is originally Gravedigger. I got the Stampede 4x4, and I got Bigfoot. Right now, I just have those trucks, but possibly in the future, I could get a new identity. And if I were to get a different truck and have it as its own identity, it would probably be Adrenaline Rush, as that's pretty much been the my own custom truck from Rigs of Rods. So it'd be kind of fitting to have it as its own RC.
To see, and let me know if you ever want anything done for like a driver's shirt. I know somebody that'll hook you up.
Now, is there any more questions?
I have one more question. Are you planning to do more events? I know you guys are like starting out a little more, but are you looking for like thinking about doing like collaborations or like doing like more like bigger events or down in the later line, you know?
Well, right now, just kind of getting my feet wet, just really trying to figure out what works, what doesn't work. I did like 3 practice events, but I kind of just took it in a snippet, did like a montage video, which is the latest video. Excuse me. In the future, I'm thinking about recording full events, and hopefully I could also see when my bud, when he's available, he can borrow one of my RCs for an event, do like a one-on-one. Um we could possibly also do a big family event as we did in the past. But for collaborations, as of right now, it is a pretty good idea, and it's something that I would love to do. But I just have to find the time for that, and um, hopefully be able to pretty much just like do it without something interfering. But either way, all that would be pretty darn cool. All right, so now, Hayden Altman, do you have any more questions before I wrap things up?
Yeah, I got one more. Would you ever be interested in going pro and doing solid axle trucks, which is like the ones that are like bigger and like they go or like they do it like for points and money?
Um, Honestly, I'm not too sure. I think I'd rather just have it more of as a hobby, which is kind of what I'm doing right now. Um, to me, I kind of like to enjoy it this way, but if I were to do it in a full-time competition like that, not too sure. I think it would be a little more frustrating. So I'd rather just have it more of a like a just for fun thing, like a full hobby, and just have it here.
It's actually a
Um,
very good question or answer.
yep. All right. So yep. So coming up on the channel, we got some more RC stuff coming. We got some more RC interviews coming, including Mini Jam RC, as well as a few others. And Traxxas Monster Action is going to have some new videos at some point. Don't really have a full schedule on really anything here on the channel, but when it comes, it comes. I'm pretty sure it'll most likely be around somewhere around the summertime. So Monster Jam RC, Hayden Altman, thank you guys for being here on the podcast. And yeah, so we'll be able to see you guys next time here on the TF Motorsports podcast, whether it is the new interviews coming soon, or if we don't get to that, then we will have to see you all the way either into October or November for the Monster Jam 2025 kickoff. We'll see you guys next time here on the podcast.
All right. Thank you for inviting me on this podcast. Thank you so much. I really appreciate this offer.
Thanks for having me again, Thomas, and I hope to talk to you soon, bud.